Oh,
Give it
I
up.
ruined my gag. It was supposed to be the masks.
oh.
That's tight. It's tight.
That's all right.
Good evening,
I picture it
everybody.
now.
Welcome to the Echo Show. I'm Maui, and I'm here with my friends Stephanie, Ian, and Lotus. Hi,
Hey.
how y'all doing tonight?
Wait, everybody's got hats, so I'm gonna turn this into a do-rag.
Yeah. It's hat day.
Yeah.
It's hat day.
Perfect.
But like I don't. But like I like to be extra, so I got a second hat here.
Second hat.
Oh,
Second hat.
Trying to
Hats on
show
hats
us
on
off.
hats on
Maui's
hats.
asserting their dominance right now with the
Yeah.
second hat.
well, my phone's on my head.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing all right, man.
Doing all right. All right. So tonight's gonna be a little bit different, right? We're gonna attempt a drop-in show. We'll see if we get anybody that actually wants to drop in. If you want to drop in, I posted up what the topics are just a second ago on my personal page. I will repeat them here for you now. So we are going to do a few different topics today, and if you want to chime in on one of those topics, you can let me know. You can PM either myself, or if you're watching for Stephanie or Lotus or Ian, PM one of them. Will send you the StreamYard link and have you come in for a second and say your piece. The topics tonight are we're going to compare storytelling mediums. We are going to talk about our favorite spots in Chicago or the Chicagoland area, and then unearthed treasures you've found in your home on this COVID-19 quarantine. So yeah, if you want to chime in on one of those topics, feel free to PM one of us. I'm also gonna attempt a new interactive segment for the show called Quarantine Idol. So around 9:45, we're gonna have 3 people come on and do 32 bars of a song of their choice, and no one loses. Everyone's a winner.
Is it? It's a cappella, right?
It's a cappella unless you have
It's
a
raw.
musical instrument to
It's
play.
raw.
You know, so whatever they want to do, can be done. So that's the lineup for tonight. Real quick before we get into our topics, I wanted to share a couple heartwarming news stories that I found in the last week or so that I thought are just beautiful. The first one I saw on my Facebook stream, and I won't use names or familial relations, but just for anonymity's sake. But in Forest Park, a local woman recently lost a family member to COVID-19. And she looked out of her window that evening to see her community standing outside of her house holding candles and mourning with her in solidarity. And I thought that was just a beautiful, beautiful, heartwarming.
Did this happen in Forest Park?
Yeah.
Wow.
Heartwarming story. So I thought that was wonderful. It's sad what happened, but it's wonderful how the community turned up for her. So I wanted to shout that out. Also in Oak Park recently, the Mann Elementary School teachers did a parade for their students in their cars. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then my third heartwarming news story that I actually saw this late last night. My friend Babs, shout out Babs, messaged me a YouTube link to the second episode of SGN, Some Good News, which is John Krasinski's YouTube show that he started through the quarantine, where he just shares good news that's happening all around the world. And so it was really cool. I don't know if y'all seen this yet, but John Krasinski surprised this little girl who missed her chance to see Hamilton on Broadway due to the quarantine. Not only with the promise to be flown out to see it once it comes back, but more impressively, all of a sudden Lin-Manuel Miranda pops up into their Zoom chat. And it's amazing, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And then he's like, well, I got something that I think even better. And then he starts, you hear the music play for the opening number of Hamilton, and she's like, oh, that's my favorite song from the musical. And then Leslie Odom shows up, pops into the Zoom, and he starts singing, and then you start hearing all these other people pop in. The entire original cast of Hamilton serenades her with the opening number to Hamilton.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so like it's like the last thing I watched before I went to bed last night, and it was amazing. Oh,
That's an amazing feat of coordination right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, I guess everyone didn't have anything better to do at the time, so if there was going to be a time to do it.
But it looked like crazy too because it was edited real nicely. Like,
Ooh, oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to see this.
yeah, you got to watch it.
super dope. I mean, I posted it. I don't know why you don't click on my links when I post them. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not bitter.
Duly
I
noted.
understand.
You know how Zoom, all of they're called, I think what they're called Zoom bombs, when like someone you don't want enters your Zoom conversation. And like
That
Zoom,
happened?
well,
Yeah,
it
that's
happens
happened.
generally. Yeah. And Zoom's trying like really hard to like make them stop and to add more security features or whatever. But if I was Zoom bombed by, the cast of Hamilton, I might let the security slide.
Right?
Good point.
We should have approval privileges. Like, wait, hold on, let me
Yeah.
see this. All right,
Wait.
Nobody but the
Right.
entire original Broadway cast of Hamilton.
Yeah.
exactly.
Make
There's
that
always
a
exclusions.
feature.
Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, we have a few people here. Let's see. Eric said, "I'll give you a topic. Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss."
That's such an
Classic.
Eric thing to say.
That's from an old SNL sketch. I love it.
Mm.
And Eric also said that was amazing. Eric's going to be one of our contestants on Quarantine Idol tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Mark Iverson the second, not to be confused with the first, said, "Hi everyone. Teachers here in Reno, Nevada did a parade too. I heard the honking and the hoots and the hollers. That was last week. That is awesome. See, that's some good news to share. That's some good news to share.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing Fitzgerald's did with John
No.
Langford?
No.
They had a drive around the neighborhood concert. So they put John Langford is a musician, Chicago-based musician, and he was playing in the back of a truck, and they drove up to different houses and did a little live concert right there.
Oh wow.
It did like a pre-scheduled thing. It was only in the Oak Park and sort of North Berwyn area, right around Fitzgerald's.
That's amazing.
Somebody's idea was like, you know how you have like an ice cream truck?
Cool.
Let's have a music truck. They drove around and
So
gave
when
people.
are you gonna do the music truck?
Well,
Yeah.
I need a friend with a truck first. I can't do it in my Corolla.
If anyone out there, any friends of the pod listening, if you have a truck, please drive Ian around.
Drive me
Maybe
around.
the entire
flatbed.
Broadway
You stay
cast of
in the
Hamilton will
truck,
show up with the
and he'll
truck for
stay
you.
in the flatbed.
Oh, the Hamilton truck.
The Hamel truck. Yes. All right, let's get to our first topic tonight. You like that segue?
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
Transition.
Yeah, transition. Let's get to our first topic for the evening. This topic was submitted by Lotus. So Lotus, why don't you give us the parameters of this topic?
All right. In 3 words, we are comparing storytelling mediums. All right. Since the beginning of time, people have liked to tell stories, whether it's like cave drawings or fire, scary stories around a fire, or shadow puppets, but now we have more sophisticated ways of telling really complex stories, from like comics to books to video games and movies and TV shows. So I'd like to discuss, like, what do you think, what are your opinions on these different storytelling mediums? And why do you think, what are some ways you've seen them done wrong and right? I've noticed like a big transition, for instance, in our culture from watching movies to watching TV shows.
Yeah,
So that is a big change, and binge watching them, not waiting every week. And so maybe that's like a change of technology, but there could be some opinions in there too. Any of you 3 have favorite storytelling mediums that's your go-to?
I mean, music for Ian. Like, is it like there's nothing quite like it for you?
What's that?
There's nothing quite like music as a storytelling medium for you?
Well, I think music is one of the most popular ways that you can create a story and memorize it easily and pass it down. Because I think we rely on technology so much, especially in the past 100 years. When you think about it, movies are less than 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Books are a few hundred years old. But it used to be we had to pass the stories down orally and through music and song. And that's how each generation knew their history, because we didn't have all these other devices. And now we're almost on like in a with the cloud and digital information, I think we're seriously in danger of losing a lot of our history. Because what if the cloud crashes? When's the last time an encyclopedia was printed? It's something actually tangible. And as we start reducing books and anything tangible and physical, and everything's put digitally, this could be a whole generation. When you look back, they're like, well, it looks like they had these books and they had these newspapers and they had everything up until about 2000 or so. And then they're just a blank spot. Wonder what they were up to, you know? And so stories, campfire stories, music, songs, things that you teach everybody else, that you teach the community and they all learn together, those last a little longer, I think.
For sure.
But do you think so? I'll do a con here of I know like music can kind of change, or like oral translation can like change over time.
Oh, sure.
But
Absolutely.
it's almost in a positive light in some ways, depending on what you're doing, because people like always put their own interpretation into the music.
Well, the times change, so
yeah,
I think things are updated to relate to, to relate to the times as they change. Because, for example, the Bible, written long ago, changed how many times? There's metaphors in there that probably aren't literal, but they still mean something. And not just the Bible, in any holy book, any book that was 1,000 years old or longer has things in there that related to back then. So they have to change to stay relevant to people nowadays.
But yeah, for sure. And
in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel similarly. Also, like music seems to me to be, one of many mediums for when people are not listening to people that are trying to say something, trying to share their narrative, right? Like music is one of those alternate paths, right? If no one's listening to you speak, well, maybe they'll listen to you sing, or maybe they'll listen to your play. So that's why I've always been drawn to using storytelling as a medium to affect change. I recently saw Michael Eric Dyson at Dominican University, and he was talking about mumble rap, and he's like, I don't know what they be saying, and everyone's laughing, ha ha ha. But then he's like, but maybe they're mumbling because no one listened to them when they spoke clearly. Right? Like, everybody was real quick to like jump on the boat of, mumble rap is, has no value. And he said, well, no, but maybe this is their way of expressing themselves. Right? So I think it's across many mediums. And for me, I'm a big comic book nerd. I'm a big TV nerd. I'm a big movie nerd. Like, all of the mediums, music nerd. So like I just love absorbing media. I find.
What about musicals, Maui? So musicals are really cool.
I love musicals.
In that they're musically told, but long form, like
right. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But with movies and plays and musicals, as much as I love them, I mean, you only live with those characters for a very short period of time, right? Like, you're seeing a very like confined arc. I think why I find TV such an interesting medium. TV might be my favorite storytelling medium right now. Is because you live with those characters, right? Like, you live with them. You spend, especially prior to the binging. But even with binging, right? Because you only binge a bit of their story, and then you wait for the next chapter of the story the next year. Instead of spending hours, you spend days and weeks and months and years with these characters. You grow to like love them, and they become part of your family. So I think the TV has like the biggest potential to hook people in. I think that's why you see a lot of fandoms around like television shows in particular. Like the biggest fandoms I find are usually around television shows.
Do you see a separation between TV and film as the way we experience it nowadays?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, like I said, like movies are finite. You're only spending, 2.5 hours with people, maybe 4 if it's The Irishman.
How many Fast and Furiouses are there?
There's a lot of Fast and Furious movies. That's a good point. You know, franchises kind of take the TV model and put them on the big screen.
And MCU.
MCU, there's like 24, 25 films in the MCU. I'm almost done with a rewatch of that universe.
So that kind of reminds me of, okay, Marvel reminds me of a different kind of story. It's not a medium, but it's a method called transmedia storytelling. And Marvel does this. It's basically a story spread across mediums because it has film, it has TV shows. You can like find social media accounts of these characters and like follow them on social media, which could also, I guess, be considered a storytelling media, social media. I don't know. You can see comic book characters and just like books, basically. Yeah. So transmedia storytelling, I feel like really took off in the past 20 years or so. And just like, you reminded me of that, Maui, of like the idea that you're living with characters in almost like all of these different ways sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Steph, why don't you send your pops the link? I would love to hear his perspective on teaching early childhood and using puppets for storytelling. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
We did that a lot when I was little too. I have very distinct memories.
Yeah.
I will send him the link.
Awesome. And Stephanie, you're pretty deep in fandom, and you follow a few things pretty passionately. I'd love to hear your perspective on this topic.
Yeah, I find that a lot of, or maybe this is just because my girlfriend is such a massive nerd, but a lot of people consume a very wide range of media, and I tend to hyper focus on things. Doctor Who's been my favorite TV show for like 9 years now, and it's still kind of one of the only TV shows that I really, really like keep up on. And the idea of living with those characters through like such change in my life, and as I like grew from a teenager to an adult, and Doctor Who is also such like an ever-changing show, like with the different doctors and the different companions and the different writers. It's so special to. I think you're right, Matt. I think TV is my favorite too because it's so special to grow up with a show. And I can connect different memories to different episodes and different actors and different stories, arcs, and even with the Marvel movies and anything that's long term. For Abby, my girlfriend, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think there's something very interesting in identifying with a piece of media that you feel helped raise you.
Absolutely.
That's true. I don't know how old you are, but a lot of us have probably been taught as much by TV shows and like cartoons than like, or as much influence as our like parents and friends almost. It can be that powerful. Yeah.
Nothing makes me ugly cry like the finale of a TV series.
A good one.
Like what I like is like seeing across different mediums how things affect me, like the same story in different mediums, how that affects me. Like reading Watchmen, the graphic novel, versus watching Watchmen, the movie, are two very different experiences. Versus watching the Watchmen HBO series, which I think is actually the best of the three, which is my hot take, is that the HBO Watchmen series is not only better than the source material, but it actually, for me, elevates the source material. All right, so like being able to see that in different mediums, or like how a song affects me across different mediums, right? Because I've heard songs used in different things. Like if I just listen to On Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell, it used to have a certain meaning for me, but then I saw it when I saw Love Actually for the first time, and Emma Thompson is in her room crying, listening to that song. It's her favorite artist, and she just found out that her husband was carrying on an affair. Right, like that scene, that sequence for me, like now, because I connected to this character, it has a completely different feel for me. So so it's interesting to like see how storytelling stuff changes across different mediums.
Well, I think that's the important aspect when you're talking about storytelling. there's hardly any TV or film without music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
music is part of telling the story. Without it, it's a play. Without being able to see it, it's a radio play.
Mm-hmm.
So they all combine, to deliver that same message, and it all has value. Each one is a different tool. I think to experience the lives with the people it leans towards like the film and the television side of things. To experience
With
at
the
your own,
emotion.
and the emotion, but then if you want to experience it at your own pace, that's a book or a graphic novel. You can go at your own pace. You can really dig in, read something twice if you want. And nowadays with Netflix, you can just scroll back and watch it at a time. But so
Right.
our experience is changing all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Think back, 100 years ago, when there was just radio plays, you had to really use the imagination to fill in the blanks, to follow along with these stories. And the music was so important. It had to really drive the mood, the tension, the cues. And that, has evolved with the technology, with the movies and the film. And now I would venture to say TV is now as important as film was 20, 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Because I felt there was a prestige about going to a theater and experiencing things. And TV was just sort of second fiddle to that, I think.
That's actually one thing I love about television now. I feel like it's so, even for poorer communities, so accessible generally. And actually, maybe music is way tops that more. But there's something about like film that is kind of like was like harder to reach, and now it's part of like everyone's consciousness.
Because creating film was always a very expensive thing that, is almost untouchable to the masses. Like there's no way. You have to go so much training, and you had to be in the right place. You had to live in the right town for even that to be an option. But now everything is a little bit more egalitarian. We're all filmmakers now. If you've got a phone, you've got your phone is a better camera than any camera that was existing in like the 80s in terms of, quality and accessibility.
Yeah, when you think of just like how rapidly technology evolves and how that is changing the way that we communicate with each other and the access we have to communication tools.
So the access is no longer a limitation. Now it's just your creativity.
Mm-hmm. We have some more comments here. To what you were saying, Stephanie, earlier. Jessica said, great way of putting that. Love a long-running series to grow with. And your mom is also in here. Star Trek, speaking of growing up with something. Your parents always representing. I love it. And then Jessica also said she rewatched the last episode of Lost, and I cried so hard I couldn't breathe for a second. Oh my gosh, yes. The last episode of Lost like breaks me every time because... And I think it depends on what you're watching the show for. I've said this to many of my friends before, as I've argued for the finale of Lost, because I love the finale of Lost. If you're invested in it for like the mythology and the mysteries, then I don't think it's a very satisfying finish. But if you're vested in it for the characters, I think it's an incredibly powerful final episode, and I cry so hard.
All right, quick poll. What's the best series finale ever?
Oh, I already have mine. If no one else has theirs yet, no. Okay, I'm gonna say mine.
Same,
I think that I'll give you two actually, and they're fairly recent, both of them. There's other ones that I love, but in terms of like best endings, Breaking Bad,
yes,
I think sticks the landing in the most beautiful way. That entire show, I think, is a complete masterpiece. It might be my favorite show of all time. And then also, I was just speaking of it a few minutes ago, Watchmen, the HBO Watchmen series. I absolutely love the ending of it. I don't think that the last episode was the best episode of the series, but it sticks the landing in such a beautiful way. We have some other ones coming in here. Eric says Ashes to Ashes. Has anyone ever seen Ashes to Ashes?
No. I haven't seen that one.
So there's two series. There's Life on Mars. And Ashes to Ashes. Both are David Bowie songs. The premise is, starts with, the first one is with John Sims, the master. Stephanie, for you. John Sims is a cop in the like early 2000s, which is when the show was made. And he gets injured. He gets shot, I believe, and he wakes up and he's in the 70s, and you're not sure if he's dead or if he's in purgatory, or like what's happening to him. But like it's really weird and metaphysical. And then the sequel series, Ashes to Ashes, is another officer, a woman. Something similar happens to her, and then she wakes up and she's in the 80s. And it is so good. It is so
Wow.
good. And those two series, like I would actually say Ashes to Ashes and Life on Mars is one full series, is amazing. Let's see. Oh, my friend Teresa is in here. What's up, Teresa? She said Mad Men. Mad Men has an awesome finale. Your mom loves Life on Mars.
Maybe that's a good question. What makes an awesome finale, right? Like, what is it that it completes all this different story
I
arcs?
have my criteria.
You have your criteria? Is it that it completes all the different story arcs? Is it that the main solution or the main issue of the show is resolved? Is it the emotional catharsis of the characters, like all satisfied now with their life afterwards? Like, what to you makes a good like series finale?
I think you summed it up pretty much. No loose ends.
No loose ends.
Unless they're intentionally I hate the idea of like there's always like, oh, a cliffhanger, maybe something else is going to happen. I like a nice, you wrap it all up, because that's the idea. I think that when you're creating a story, in life, stories don't really end. We know that, they just continue on. But when you're reading a story, when you're reading a book, when you close that last page, you're just like, okay, everything's summed up, everything nice. You feel like everything has tied itself. Everything is come to a complete circle, and it's all wrapped up. Yeah, that's the term. Mm-hmm. It's all wrapped up. You got what you wanted from the story. The writers have accomplished their task of putting these people's lives in there and saying, this is what happened. And there's no questions of like, yeah, but you had that whole thing in there, but you just introduced that person and then they were boring, so you cancel them. Okay, I get you. See, I like the Breaking Bad. They went in knowing that they were just going to be that many seasons. I think the problem with a lot of television is they're always fighting for that next season. So I think that was Heroes' problem. Fighting for that next season, So let's leave things dangling until they had to wrap it up. And so I would say my one of my favorites was Freaks and Geeks. Because it was just one season. I think they wanted to go more, but midway through they got canceled. So they were like, all right, well, this will be the end of this season, and that's the end of the series, and it's just a beautiful,
clean chop.
Yeah, a clean, just a clean story, just a well-told story.
Okay, in that case, I have to say Avatar: Last Airbender has an awesome ending.
Oh my gosh, Avatar sticks the landing. Avatar, I'm rewatching Avatar right now, and
got a lot of stuff to watch.
It's such a rich topic that I'm calling it Audible because we can do whatever we want on this show. Because we're not beholden to the corporate overlords. We're just going to talk about storytelling the entire time until we get to the idol thing, because this is such a rich topic. We'll save the other ones for later, because we're going to do, by the way, I'll plug some of our future shows. On Wednesday, we're doing some virtual live theater before the Echo Show on Wednesday. Afterwards, we'll have the playwright Zach Ezer coming on the show to talk about the short play that he wrote. This is going to be our first venture into virtual live theater. So
what's the play called?
It's called Black Prometheus. So be sure to check that out. And then Friday, we're going to have a special double-sized, a special 2-hour episode for my birthday, which is Friday.
Yay.
It's the birthday show. And I'm going to try and get a bunch of guests on. It's going to be another drop-in format like this where we're just going to talk. And hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. I kind of have weird hang-ups with my birthday because, like, growing up, I didn't have a lot of really good birthdays. So, like, I'm having anxiety around not being able to, like, do something for my birthday, like, out of my house. But
this is doing something.
I figured this will be an awesome thing to do instead.
Yeah.
So, you'll remember this birthday, man.
Yeah. I'm definitely never gonna forget this birthday. I'm ringing in 3-9 interesting. Becca, what's up, Becca? It says Perfect Harmony. Is a show. I'm assuming with a great finale.
Do you want to know what the internet says is the best endings?
Freaks and Geeks was great.
What was it?
1600 pen. We got some good ones in here. Yeah, what is the internet's
The Overlord internet.
According to Entertainment Weekly. So Newhart had an amazing ending. Apparently, I didn't see that one.
Newhart
I
has
think
a very crazy ending. I actually know what the ending is because
I know what the ending is, but I never watched the show, so I can't say that it was amazing or not. But.
So the finale, the final episode itself was nothing special. It's the very end. It's the last scene that is mind blowing because it turns out that the entirety of Newhart is a dream inside Bob Newhart's head. This is from like the 70s.
You ain't caught up in Newhart yet.
You're done.
But so like he wakes up and he is his character from his previous show, the Bob Newhart Show. So Newhart and Bob Newhart Show are two completely different shows. But Newhart, he's like in the country, lives in this nice cottage, and Bob Newhart, he's a psychiatrist in Chicago, I think.
Yep.
And so it's super trippy, and that gets into some meta stuff with like where shows.
Well, Breaking Bad did the alternate ending where he wakes up and he's the dad and Malcolm in the middle.
Oh, I would have if it turned out that like the dad from Malcolm in the Middle was like Walter White in a witness relocation program, right? Like that'd be the coolest thing ever,
right?
I was gonna save it for the idol, but Eric already posted it in the chat. Today is Eric's birthday, and he's gonna be on later as one of our idol contestants. Happy birthday, Eric! He's always been 4 days older than me, which is very upsetting. Oh, we got a little song.
Eric, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Eric. Eric, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Eric. Eric, it's your birthday. God bless you today. He gave you a gift of little cat. Now he's going to sing it with me, right? Hey, happy birthday.
Ooh, look at this. Ooh. We have our first drop-in guest.
Yeah.
Let me bring him into the stream. We got Mr. Mark.
He did come. Oh, good. You wore a hat too.
Yes, I wore a hat too.
Yes, anybody who drops in.
Hello, everyone. I'm Papa Iverson.
How are you?
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Dad.
So, Mr. Mark, we'd love to hear your perspective on.
How's everybody doing tonight?
We're good. Can you hear us? Okay.
I think you might need to mute
the lag.
audio.
Mark, can you hear us okay?
Dad, do you headphones?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
If you have something on in the background, make sure you mute it so that we don't get cross.
That's us. That's us, Maui. He's not going to hear us talking to him now.
Fine, yeah.
Okay, good.
Dad, if you have headphones, put on headphones.
Make sure you mute it. Yeah, that's definitely his mic. I'm going to mute you for a second. Put on your headphones, Mr. Mark.
It's a good dad moment right now.
That's a good dad moment. All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Much better. Oh, we can't hear you though.
Now we can't hear him. He's unmuted though. Oh, this dad tech is great.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so just keep on your headphones until we finish talking, and then we're gonna stop talking and hand it over to you, and you're gonna say your piece. So my question to you is, and make sure to take out your headphones afterwards so that people can hear you. Unplug them from the device.
No, that should be fine.
Yeah. So my question to you is, can you talk a bit about the storytelling medium of puppetry as it relates to early childhood development?
Ooh.
So now you unmute him, Maui.
He's unmuted. He just needs to take out his headphones because it's for some reason knocking out his speaker.
Oh, it is?
No, take it out of your device. Now we'll all be quiet.
Okay, can you hear me now?
For some reason knocking out his speaker. Oh, it is. No, take it out of your device. Now we'll all be quiet.
Hey, I'm good with puppets, not technology.
I know I just figured out what it is actually. You still have your Facebook live on as a window. Close your Facebook. There you go.
Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I figured it out. I'm a good troubleshooter.
Sleuter.
Okay, so
the question?
Puppetry, early childhood development. Let's talk about that.
Well, I tell you, with all the technology nowadays, the kids have this in front of them and they're always concentrating on that. And I tell you, when the puppets come out and I start telling a story, they're just so engaged to just that little movement and that different kind of voice and that kind of action, and that it's physical and they can touch it, and the puppet goes around and talks to them and asks them questions. It's a whole different world from what they're used to. So they really like getting involved with that medium of that puppet.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
It's a great educational tool.
Yeah. So how did you get into using puppetry as a storytelling tool?
Well, it started before Stephanie was born. I worked at an early childhood center in 1992, and it was my first 4-year-old classroom. And I went to a conference and they did a training on puppets. And I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. And so I bought a puppet, and Coco is now 30 something years old, and and he's still, teaching the kids. So it was just a great tool. And when I saw that training, it was just amazing. And I just thought it was a great educational tool to bring into the classroom. And it works.
Awesome. That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that. It's
Yes.
also a good time to plug that next week, hopefully we're still working on the exact date, but next week we will have a good friend of mine, Frankie Cordero, on. He lives in Oak Park, and he's also a Sesame Street Muppeteer. He's going to talk about his experience working on Sesame Street.
He's probably a little more qualified than I am.
So, hey, bigger, small, we all do. We all tell the stories. It's all
That's
good.
awesome.
You know what you reminded me of, though, Mr. Mark?
Who's that?
We've been talking a lot about stories and storytelling mediums, but we haven't talked about what the purpose of story is. Like, what do stories mean to us? Why are we so obsessed as like a species of telling them? And one of the things that you're doing with your puppets is really getting down to that core thing, is where we use it to teach each other,
Yes.
to teach each other, to communicate with each other about our feelings, how to behave, different topics. And so I think that really, you just oh, of course.
Exactly.
That's why we tell stories.
Like you were saying earlier with the cave drawings, I mean, they tell stories, and even us looking at them now, they strike emotions, even though we don't understand all the things that they might be saying, you still look at that and you're still like, wow. And you try to interpret it yourself. And it's the same with early childhood. You're telling a story, and these young 4-year-olds, they're beginning learners. So they're interpreting it in their own head. But with that medium of the puppet, it just draws them in, and they want to hear more. They want to talk more. They want to be more engaged with that type of storytelling.
And it's really interesting because puppets aren't, wildly used.
They're not.
That you used to read stories to me with puppets. I remember Stella Luna was one. And it's so funny that all these years later, I see that story and I'm like, my dad used to read that to me.
Yep.
That's something really special. And you had the little Stella Luna Beanie Baby that you would use.
It was a book, a stick, and the story Stella Luna.
Yep.
And that's all it was. And even to this day, Stephanie remembers that.
And it sticks with you because it's not commonly used.
So
Exactly.
Jessica Lopez just chimed in here and said that her son uses a Woody doll for everything in terms of coping. He has autism, and his Woody doll has inspired all of his goals. That's really cool. That's really cool.
It is an incredible tool for any, child with either special needs or just regular education or anything. It's so important to not let these things die, because once that puppet goes away and you read from a book or you look at an iPad, you lose that interaction. You lose that physical contact with them. So it's so important that this continues.
Absolutely. Mr. Mark, I want to thank you for dropping in on our drop-in show. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm
fun.
glad I built up the nerve to do it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. We'll have you on again. When we
Thank
do
you.
a Stephanie birthday show, we'll have you on.
That sounds great. You guys have a good
This
night
is your
and
life
thank you.
episode. Yeah, thank you so much.
How do I get out of here?
Dad.
I'll kick you out. Don't worry. There you go.
Bye.
That was good.
That's
was
interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was
Do you think our puppets evolve in terms of like they become the cartoon characters and then they become the actors on the show that we see, because they're all characters,
Yeah.
you know, and you're buying into the illusion, but it's the story that's the thing. You're focusing on the story. So there's always that separation between the puppet, the outer shell, and the hand behind it that's making it making it move.
Well, I will also say, I'll say this little tease, and I won't say much about it because it's still in very, very early development stages. But since we're talking about puppets, that I am in the process of working on a puppet show for early childhood. So that'll be a little tease, a little tease.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be more on
More
that in the
details.
coming
Ooh.
months. It's still like a year or two out. It's still in very, very early development. We got a Gav that wants to hop in. Gav, you're gonna be one of our idols tonight too.
Ooh,
So get ready to sing a song. I've just
Sing.
decreed it. Steph, would you mind sending Gav the link,
I
please?
got you.
Thank you. Actually, it'll probably be a good time to just start the idol part too. We can start in that because we're in our last 20 minutes here, and we want to make sure that we end. So just so everyone knows, we are ending on a tribute to Bill Withers by our wonderful Ian Leith, or as I would call him, Ian Lerth, pronouncing things incorrectly.
Okay, Mo.
How would you pronounce Maui incorrectly?
Mo?
Maui.
I actually like the way that
Lotus.
sounded. Maui.
Maui.
Just like
Maui,
Maui.
Lotus, Stefani, and
Ma-
Ian.
You know, I've heard people say lettuce.
Let us entertain you.
Lettuce.
Lettuce.
No, that's terrible. That's a dad joke. Sorry. You heard me right, Gavin. So yeah, we're gonna start our idol in a second, but I would love to hear what Gavin has to say about storytelling
Oh, is Gavin coming on?
I think Gavin's coming on.
All right.
I think Gavin's coming on.
Where are they?
I don't know where they are.
Sent you the link on Facebook. Gavin.
I'm trying to think. So we didn't talk much about comic
No,
books.
Gavin's singing. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, he can, or they can do both, right? They can talk about storytelling, and then we'll kick off the idol, and they'll be our first contestant.
Perfect.
But we didn't talk much about comic books. And I want to real quick talk about comics because comic books, I think, is a fascinating medium because it's reproducing a lot of stuff on the page, right? Sounds, visual, reading, right? It combines all these things in this very interesting way. So I think that's fascinating. And that's one of my first loves is comic books as a storytelling medium. And I think it's really interesting to see how it has evolved from just a written and drawn medium to television, right, in the 70s and even before that in the 40s and 50s, with the Max Fleischer cartoons and whatnot for Superman, to now like the sure thing in Hollywood is to make a comic book movie, right? Do something on Marvel and DC is like the sure thing. And I think that's fascinating. I think it's truly, truly fascinating. Look who we have joining us. We have had to go get a hat.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody wears a hat on this show.
Okay.
Yes.
You are now welcome. Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy. Unmute your mic, Gavin.
They were just
The hat
like, you
says it
only
all.
need to see. You don't need
I
to.
can't believe the amount of tech issues that we have on this end is just abhorrent.
Southside tech issues.
Absolutely
It's okay.
the worst.
So Gavin,
okay.
So in a couple minutes here, we're about to do a little bit of quarantine idol. And I have randomly selected you to be one of our quarantine idols. But before we do that, I'd love to get your quick thoughts on on storytelling mediums.
Quickest thought. quickest thought in all of Humboldt Park.
So what you got for us? Tell us about your storytelling medium, deep
Of
thoughts.
choice.
Of mine personally,
Yeah, yours personally.
I mean, sometimes I'm a playwright, depending on what hat I'm wearing.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Good
playwriting
name.
is absolutely wild. There are so many. It's interesting what the limitations versus the freedoms are when it comes to like playwriting versus writing a script for like screen. I find that like, yeah, it's how different and how similar they could be, especially in terms of like, say, passage of time or what characters can be involved in what scenes. And usually when I'm writing out a play treatment, I'm thinking about the actors backstage and like, can this character be in 2 scenes in a row or 3 scenes in a row? And is that fair to the actor? Should I switch it up? And all of that is a part of being a considerate playwright, but it's also a part of being like a good storyteller and thinking about pacing and making sure that your plot lines are all given balance and such like. I heard you guys were talking about going and getting my hat. What was going on there?
Oh, I was just saying that I find comic books to be a fascinating medium. How it reproduces a lot of elements, moving elements, in still frame, sound and visual, and
Well, a comic book is basically a storyboard for a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they use for storyboards are basically comics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, like, I just find it a fascinating medium, and it's interesting to see how it's been translated across other mediums, be it television, radio, movies. It's really cool to see.
I also feel like what comic booking has that a lot of other media doesn't necessarily is inking. And something about inking and something about like having solid black as such like a foundational part of the shapes you're making does a lot for allowing the reader's mind to fill in the blanks like panel by panel, and it creates that dynamic movement where you wouldn't otherwise get that in something that's just directly showing you what that looks like. And that's why I feel like a lot of the best most references in comic book adaptations, for me, the ones that stand out are high contrast things like in 300, the whatever the hell his
Sin
name
City.
is, Zack Snyder's the hallway fight in the first season of Daredevil.
Oh God, that hallway fight's so good.
One of the great things or another thing about comics that I think
with,
other
like,
mediums
high
don't have,
contrast.
maybe comics and cartoons have, is just being able to do anything. I feel like there's still, even today, there's still limitations in movies and there's still limitations in film. But in comics, you can still get into people's thoughts more. You can have like really fantastical worlds without needing to like.
There's a lot of
having
leeway.
huge budgets.
We suspend our disbelief way much more with comics and cartoons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you ever read the Saga
see,
comic?
like, people
Yeah.
can defy gravity and do things in a cartoon, and you won't think twice about it. But
Yeah,
you
it's
see
so
it in a
natural.
live action movie, and a lot of the times it doesn't translate.
It doesn't look natural.
Hashtag Avatar Last Airbender. Just saying. All right, so we're gonna end our
know if y'all
storytelling
can
talk
hear me,
there.
but I
That was
can't
great. We could talk about this for hours.
Hours.
This is my jam. And hold on 1 second. I need to switch hats. And change it to my quarantine idol persona. I'll be right back.
Oh, shoot.
I can't hear
All right, do you know what you're gonna sing for us, Gavin?
What's wrong with you, Gavin?
What are you gonna sing, Gavin?
They can hear us?
Hi, y'all. How we doing?
Okay.
Yo.
With these sunglasses, still can't hear anything.
Hey, dog. What's up, man? How you doing? What's your name? You say your name is Gavin, right? Gavin, can you hear me? Oh, wait. Lotus is also changing. Lotus, I thought you were changing. Gavin, can you hear me? Stop smiling. Can you hear me?
He couldn't hear us. He was saying he couldn't hear us.
What? His sound went out?
I don't know.
I hear you're
He's
typing.
typing.
I hear him typing. I don't hear him talking. Just talk, Gavin.
I think he muted us.
No,
All right.
he-
Well, he doesn't need to hear us. Or wait, no, they don't need.
He just
No.
needs to say some words.
No, they don't need. They don't need to hear us. Hold on. Gavin,
He's having a good time.
tell us what you shall sing.
Yes. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, what am
You
I
know,
gonna
we-
sing? I have no idea, and it doesn't help that I can't hear anything. I'm gonna leave the call and then see if I can rejoin.
Yes. Leave and come
Does
back
that
in.
sound like a plan?
That sounds like a plan. Okay.
I'm excited to know what they're
So
gonna do.
while
Oh my god,
while,
Lotus, stop. There's
while
a private
Gavin
chat
figures
going on,
his-
and there's
his-
a lot
his
of
ish
a lot
out.
of like, Gavin, just do it.
Just do it.
So while Gavin figures their stuff out, we're gonna go over it real quick. So here are the rules. There are no rules. The rules are there are no rules. They're gonna sing about 32 bars of anything they want to sing, and there's no winner and there's no loser. So none of this matters. Yeah. So that's it. It's just for fun, just to have some community people come on and have a good time.
I feel like hope.
Let's bring. Can you hear us now, Gav?
I think so.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
So, did you catch the rules?
No, I didn't hear any of that.
So there are no rules. You can sing whatever you want. 32 bars or whatever you want. You can do it a cappella. You can put in an accompanying track.
Oh, the 32 bars. I hate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll sing Sweeney Todd with you.
Oh, please.
I've
do. My gosh.
So one great thing, if you can't catch
I'm
Gavin
always ready
now,
to sing Sweeney Todd.
add them online.
I'm scrolling. I'm trying to figure out.
No, just whatever off the top of your head. Whatever you got. What
What is your song?
What's
You've
your
been
song?
singing a lot recently, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but
I
I,
don't
have
know what
nothing.
Yeah. Why don't you drop a little Phantom on this, man?
Drop some Phantom. No.
Drop some
Drop
Phantom
the
on this.
Phantom.
Not in this-
Casual.
What should I sing, Steph?
Well, while you think of that, let's get Eric in the chat too. Steph, can you send Eric the stream? I think I actually sent Eric the stream already, but can you resend it to him so we can get him in here?
Mm-hmm. Send
Yeah,
the link
two-
to Mora as well.
Yeah. Well, we can only do 6 at a time, so we'll have to bring Maura in. Oh, actually, Maura's already in, so we'll do Eric last.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
We
Maura's
got
in,
this is
so
a
we'll do
real
Eric
show
last.
now.
For you, Eric.
Ooh, we got a full house here.
Hello.
Hey, Maura.
More hair goals.
Ooh, look at that drape.
That drape. That.
Thank you. Eric says you should sing Sweeney Todd too.
Eric says
No.
you should sing Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
If you wanted to see that, you missed your chance.
That's what I
Your
heard.
one and
I did
only
see it.
chance.
Eric says, "These are my friends. See how they glisten."
Had a fun
Do it.
See this
I
one
did.
shine, how he smiles in the light, my friend,
Come
my faithful friend. Oh God, no!
Come on, give me 30. More. Do you know your song? Are you
Yes.
are you doing that one, Gavin?
Oh, you've been locked out of sight all these years, like me, my friend. Well, I've come home to find you waiting. Home, and we're together, and we'll do wonders, won't we?
Hey!
Oh my gosh, it's getting hot in here. We need to move on to the next contestant.
Okay,
That was
so-
too good.
Well, we have to talk about what we just heard.
Oh, okay.
I'll go first.
I
Yeah.
love Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, dog. For me, that was fire, man. That was fire. That was great, dog. So I say you move on to Hollywood.
That's a great
Steph.
Simon Cowell impersonation.
That's Michael Jackson. First of all.
That's funny though.
First of all. Stephanie, you gotta give your thoughts.
Does that make me Paulo Abdul? We have the same birthday.
Sure. Or Jennifer
don't know
Lopez,
how- I don't know
or
how-
Keith
yeah.
Urban. You can pick any of the
It was
judges.
Sweeney Todd, so it's a yes for me.
Thanks.
Lotus.
I must say that was the absolute most beautiful thing I've heard
Um,
all evening.
Lotus,
all
when are we gonna
evening.
sing together? When are they gonna get us into a quarantine room to do this?
I don't know what we got to do to make this happen.
Ian, what did you think?
I'm not a judge. I'm Nick Cannon. I'm here to hype everybody up. You did a great job. I think.
All right, that was Gavin. That was Gavin. Everyone, give it up for Gavin.
Woo, woo, woo.
All right, Gavin. I'm
waiting
My
on you.
boy.
gonna pop you out so I can pop Eric in. We love you.
Bye. Have fun. Have fun.
Bye.
Mwah. All right, that was G Money.
G Money.
All right. Next up, we have I'm sorry. What's your name? What's your name?
Where you
Your
from?
name's Mora.
Yes, I'm Mora.
Mayra.
You got this, Mara.
Mora, and what are you singing for us today?
Looking fabulous.
I will sing Angel from Montgomery.
Singing Angel from Montgomery. All right. Who sings that song?
John Prine, baby.
Well, it is a John Prine song, and I do it in the style of Bonnie Raitt.
Oh yeah, John Prine. Yeah, we were really good friends. I used to write with him back in the day. Go ahead, take it away, sweetheart.
I am an old woman named after my mother. Oh man's just another child that's grown old. The dreams of thunder and lightning was his eyes. This old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give them the one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
Hey.
That guitar, that sneak guitar
Hi.
though.
Oh, awesome.
All right. So now we gotta break that
My
down.
cat's trying to sing. Can you hear him?
So like I said, Mora, I'm good personal friends with John Prine, and so I know that song very well, and I have to say that was one of the most beautiful renditions I've ever heard in my life. So that's a yes from me. Stephanie, it sounds like your cat liked it.
He's auditioning too.
Cat's just singing.
He brought me a toy.
Oh.
Well, I think
TJ, relax.
it's a yes for my cat and it's a yes for you, Mora.
Lotus.
I will say that when you begun to sing, I could feel the passion in your eyes, almost as if you were about to cry. And you held that passion with your hands in the guitar. It's a yes for me. Welcome to Hollywood.
That's
Welcome
three
to
yeses.
Hollywood.
That's 3 yeses.
Yeah,
All right. That was
that was so great. Accompaniment.
yeah, impromptu accompaniment. That was great. It sounded good too.
Awesome.
All right, Maura, we're gonna wish you farewell. Thanks for being on the show.
Farewell.
All right.
Bye.
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 All right. Next up, oh look at this. We got first of all before we go, my producer is telling me that it is your birthday. Is that correct?
It is indeed, yes.
Oh, happy birthday! And what's your name,
Thank
sir?
you. My name is Eric.
Eric. I had a friend named Eric once.
Yes, you did.
Once.
Once. Not making that mistake again.
Yeah. You shouldn't shoot me. My mother shot me once. Okay, so Eric, happy birthday first of all.
Thank you.
Second of all, what is your song?
I was going to sing Proud of Your Boy from the Broadway version of Aladdin because I'm a big
Ooh.
Disney nerd.
All right, let's
So I've
give
been
you a
singing this stuff a
solo.
lot lately.
All right,
Diversity.
take it away, Eric.
Okay.
I don't know this one.
Proud of your boy, I'll make you proud of your boy. Believe me, bad as I've been, Ma, you're in for a pleasant surprise. I've wasted time, I've wasted me. So say I'm slow for my age, a late bloomer, okay, I agree. that I've been one rotten kid. Some sun, some pride, and some joy. But I'll get over these lousing up, messing up, screwing up times. You'll see, ma, now comes the better part. Someone's gonna make good cross his stupid heart. Make good and finally make you proud of your boy.
Hey! Yay! That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
One of my favorites.
So Eric,
Yes.
I have to say, first of all, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm very good friends with Alan Menken,
Oh, yes,
and
really?
and so I know a lot about that song, and I have to say, um, that was one of the most impassioned renditions of that song I have ever heard. It is definitely a yes from me.
Well, it wasn't Sweeney Todd.
I mean, what is?
So, I mean, I don't know, but it did make me feel things, I guess. So, yes, sure. It's not as touching as my cat song either. So. Sorry, you're kind of low on the list, but you can still come.
Judges are brutal tonight.
Apparently.
Eric, dear, I must tell you, I know you tried, but Walt Disney is rolling in his grave right now, trying
What?
to escape, to join this broadcast and tell you you are amazing. It's a yes from me. Beautiful.
So everybody wins. Everyone's a winner
Yay.
today on Quarantine Idol. Give it up for our first Quarantine Idol. Thank you so much for joining us, Eric. Once again, happy
Thank you,
birthday
Eric.
to you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll kick you out now. Have a
All
good
right. Bye.
one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, why'd
Oh,
you make
that was
Eric
good.
leave?
Yes. Parting is such sweet sorrow. And we had all these nice comments. Becky said yes to Gavin. Yes, LOL, go Sweeney Todd, love it. Go Mora. Gav, woo to Mora. Bring the cat. Bring the cat we have
The obvious
here.
winner.
That Disney Prince voice.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough of those, let me just say.
I felt things too in my nipples when Eric was singing that song. So, yeah.
Thanks for
I think we're going to call it a night.
No. Well, we're about to call it a night,
We
but
need to
first
go.
we're going to end with a couple songs here from the wonderful Ian Lee. So, those of you who have not heard, I don't imagine anyone who hasn't heard the news, but the iconic, the wonderful, the beautiful Bill Withers, wonderful artist, one of my favorite singers, passed away at the age of 81, and I just it was devastating for me. I spent the entire day after that listening to his songs and just kind of going back through his catalog and just thinking about what he means to me as an artist. And Questlove said something recently about Bill Withers, saying that he is, like, for Black people, he is the Bruce Springsteen of Black people, right? Like. And I thought that really rang true to me. He was like the last, like, everyman Black singer-songwriter, and his songs, the way he told stories, the way he saw the world was so beautiful and so unique.
He signed a record deal and still kept his day job.
Yeah. When he signed that deal, he was installing toilets on airplanes when he got his first record deal in LA. He was in his mid-30s when he got his big break. So as we end tonight, we're going to end with a couple of songs. So the last face you see tonight will be Ian, and he's going to play a couple tunes here in tribute to Bill Withers. So without further ado, Ian, please take it away.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. We look for love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make the flowers grow. Good things might come to those who wait, and not for those who wait too late. Gotta go for all we know. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building them castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. Oops. I hear the crystal raindrops fall on the window down the hall, and it becomes the morning dew. And darling, when the morning comes and I see the morning sun, wanna be the one with you. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building big castles way up high. Just the two of us. You and I. Oops. Got to work on that last section. Thank you, Maui. Thank you, Lotus and Stephanie, for joining me tonight. And echo loved to everybody. This is one more song for you by the great Bill Withers. Something we all need right now. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show.
I gotta sing with you, brother. Lean on me
when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call me
When you need a friend,
call me,
call me.
call me,
When you need a friend,
call me,
when you ever need a
call
friend,
me,
call me,
call me,
call me.
very side.
Give it up, Bill Withers, y'all. Good night.